Nigeria, and welcome to Daybreak on Trust Television. It's 8 a.m. and I am Sunday Michael Ogu.
It is a beautiful Thursday morning right here in the nation's capital. Daybreak on Trust TV. I am Ibrahim Yusuf.
It's been an interesting journey from the 7 o'clock hour, where we'll serve you quite interesting offering for today, and we would continue on this mark. We hope that you join us in this rather very interesting and refreshing edition. We start with the news headline this morning. 2023 presidency, Fayose dumps Atiku, says power must shift to the south.
Organ harvesting, FG hires lawyers to defend Ekweremadu.
And Abuja Kaduna train victims shot in captivity, says negotiator.
Now let's delve into the details. Former Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State has demanded a power shift to the south, saying it will be unfair for a northerner to step into office after President Muhammadu Buhari's 8 years. Fayose, an ally of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, is among those who contested the presidential ticket of the opposition party, won by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. After the primaries, the PDP had called on all its stakeholders to close ranks and work towards wresting power from the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. However, the PDP started experiencing post-primary crisis after Atiku chose Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State as his running mate. Hours before Fayose's tweet, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State has said Wike would have been a better running mate to Okowa.
And moving on, the federal government has engaged some lawyers to defend Ike Ekweremadu, former Deputy Senate President, and his wife, Beatrice. Senate President Ahmed Lawal disclosed this after a closed-door session of the chamber on Wednesday, adding that a delegation of the chamber would, on July 1st, visit the Ekweremadus in London. According to law, the visit will be undertaken by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, chaired by Senator Adamu Bilkachua. He disclosed that the Senate would engage the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigerian High Commission in London on the matter. They were last week arrested and arraigned at Osbridge Magistrate Court in London over alleged organ harvesting.
Meanwhile, one of the passengers of the Kaduna-bound train that was attacked by terrorists in March has been shot in captivity. According to Tukur Mahmoud, the publisher who has been negotiating with the terrorists, the victim, identified as Muhammad Alamin, is currently in critical condition. Mahmoud, who facilitated the release of 11 of the passengers, confirmed the development to Daily Trust. He said the government must be prepared to take full responsibility if they fail to act on time.
And that is how we wrap up the highlights this morning. And moving on, excitement is in the air for intending pilgrims, especially first-timers from Kaduna State, who are participating in this year's HAJJ exercise, with 1,589 pilgrims from the state's 2,491 expected pilgrims already airlifted to Medina in Saudi Arabia. The fourth batch of the pilgrims have expressed satisfaction with the coordination of the HAJJ activities in the state amidst their excitement in participating in the exercise.
These intending pilgrims from Kaduna State are part of the fourth batch of the pilgrims to be airlifted from the Kaduna International Airport to Medina in Saudi Arabia for the 2022 HAJJ exercise. With this year's lifting of suspension in HAJJ activities after 2 years of global lockdown as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, some of the pilgrims, especially first-timers, could not hide their excitement, having waited 2 years to participate in the important spiritual activity.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. It's not by our power, it's not by our grace. Some people are here, they want to witness it, but they could not witness it. Maybe death or one or two things. So we thank God for giving us the life, the ability to witness today. So I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should accept our prayer. Being the first timer, we pray that if we go, it should not be our last time. In fact, I don't know how I'm going to show you. So the excitement is beyond what I can express.
It is an exciting opportunity for even old-timers who were elated at the chance of returning to the Holy Land after 2 years.
One will feel highly elated, excited, and you will feel on top of the world since the HAJJ has been suspended for 2020 and 2021 due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, by Allah's will, it has been restored. So every single Muslim, whether you are going or not, you will feel excited. Talk more of those of us that have the opportunity of going. Sincerely speaking, I'm highly excited and elated to visit the Holy Land at this very time this year after the suspension of these 2 preceding years.
For a hitch-free Hajj exercise and to ensure all pilgrims perform optimally and in good health, the Kaduna State Medical Team has assured of adequate healthcare delivery for all pilgrims in the Holy Land.
In Saudi too, we know that we are communicating with people over there. They have able people over there, and we go and join them. And all the drugs, basic drugs required by the pilgrims will actually be available, and we're going to treat them as appropriate as we should. And every pilgrim that need any medical care, either in the clinic or in his hostel, there are measures established to give that individual optimal care that he could get anywhere around the world.
Lami Sadiq for Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Meanwhile, hundreds of intending pilgrims in Kano are protesting the non-allocation of Hajj slots despite making full payments for the pilgrimage. Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board confirms that the board is still waiting for allocation of Hajj seats from the National Hajj Commission. Correspondent Idris Jibril reports that the protesters expressed shock over the non-allocation of Hajj seats despite making full payments. The report.
These are 280 intending pilgrims under the Hajj savings schemes, which they paid their money to HAJJ Bank in Kano. But few days to go, there seems to be no future for them, and the explanation seems unsatisfactory. According to these people, HAJJ Bank has debited their account, which they sent to both National Hajj Commission and Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board. But the board is giving them no assurance of going to the Holy Land. You see, Kano Pilgrim Board has collected all our traveling documents, but now they are telling us that there is no allocation of seats. That is why we came to HAJJ to seek for answers, because we were debited since last week. They took 401,000 naira to Kano Pilgrims Welfare Board and 2,050,000 naira to National Hajj Commission, but yet they are still telling us that there is no seat allocation to us. Meanwhile, the Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board says so far there is no allocation from National Hajj Commission in the name of those pilgrims of the Hajj saving schemes from HAJJ Bank, but the board is hoping to get some anytime soon.
The issue na Hajj savings scheme ya taso, na je hukumar kula da aikin Hajji da Umara akalla.
When the issue of Hajj savings scheme came up, I visited the National Hajj Commission more than 10 times to explain the lack of seat allocation for Kano, hoping that it will improve. Myself and the governor himself were promised repeatedly by the commission, yet there are no allocation coming to us. So these people, we are only hoping that this allocation will come so that we will include them. But honestly, it's getting late. As intending pilgrims all over the country begins to arrive to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, these people can only hope for change, which is highly unlikely at the moment. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Welcome back. And to help us understand the controversy better, we have joining us virtually from Kaduna, the chairman, Independent Hajj Reporters, Ibrahim Mohammed, and our Northwest correspondent, Idris Jibril, also joining us from Kano. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good morning. Can you help us make sense of all the difficulties that we have heard with regards to getting Hajj seats for some intended pilgrims where money have been debited and no allocation has been made with barely less than 9 days to go?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank Daily Trust crew for inviting me to the privilege of giving the information to the public. First, at the background, we have to understand that the agitation by the pilgrims to get enrolled in the list of those that will travel this year is primarily because of the suspension of HAJJ 2 years consecutively due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And when the HAJJ eventually came, the seat allocation of HAJJ slots worldwide was reduced by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. For example, in 2019, about 2.8 million Muslims worldwide performed Hajj. And in 2022, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia slashed the allocation to 1 million pilgrims from all over the world, which means 850,000 pilgrims from foreign countries, then 250,000 from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Out of this allocation, 43,032 was allocated to Nigeria, sent to the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria for distribution to state pilgrims welfare boards. And some of the states actually get the highest among them is Kaduna, 2,440 something pilgrims. So comparatively, some of these states also have been registering pilgrims since 2019, 2020, 2021, and of course 2022. Some of them have registered far and above the initial status quo allocation they do have in 2019. For example, in 2019, Kaduna have about 4,300 something allocation. So that means they get like 50% of their initial allocation. That is factor number one. Now, the second factor is this. There is a criteria, unlike before that Saudi Arabia said from 12 years up to as much as 70, 80 years, you can perform Hajj. They have slashed the maximum age to 65 years. That is another factor that has edged out certain categories of pilgrims to be eligible for perform Hajj this year. Thirdly, some state pilgrims welfare board also, after allocating the Hajj seat to them, we also have to go back home and use a same criteria to redistribute the seat to local government. And another factors I think actually contributed is the NAHACOM policy of 60 to 40 distribution of Hajj savings schemes to the state. For example, that policy entails pilgrims who actually pay through Hajj savings scheme will take 60%, while pilgrims who pay the state Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Board will take 40%. So generally, that are the factors that led to some of the tests and anxiety on the part of Nigerian pilgrims. So it's a serious issue, it's a complex issue, and I can also say it's a global issue, it's not just to Nigeria.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed, just before we bring in a correspondent from Kano, I would like a bit of clarity. You have pointed out a number of reasons why this has happened, but we also understand that some of these notifications may have been given well ahead of time, like the total number of intending pilgrims may have been given well ahead of time. The new criteria, which then bars people above 65 from participating, may have been given well ahead of preparations. Why was it difficult for the Nigerian system, and in this case, I'm talking about the National Pilgrim Welfare Board or the State Pilgrim Board and all of the stakeholders, why was it difficult to have acted on some of this known information well ahead of time to avoid the situation where some persons are only getting to know that they may not make it only a few days to the time, haven't made several arrangements and taking money from them only as early as a couple of weeks ago?
Well, Aki, thank you. You are right. Because the information that there will be Hajj this year made known at the middle of Ramadan last year, and the allocation to Nigeria actually came earlier, immediately after 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the announcement. As you rightly pointed out, can categorically say that the causative factors are some lack of adequate planning on the part of some of the HAJJ managers, maybe within the State Pilgrim Welfare Board and possibly at the national level. And why did I say this? For example, if allocation is given to a state, I don't want to mention a particular state, of 30,000 pilgrims, and the criteria adopted to select this pilgrim, and that criteria is strictly based on first come, first serve, simply means those who registered first and met the criteria of above less than 65 years age and actually have the capacity to balance up the HAJJ fee as at before the deadline should pick first, then to be followed by those who pay in 2020, then to be followed by those who pay in 2019. Once you adhere strictly with this criteria, that means you go to 2019 record and pick those who make the criteria. You know your allocation. And I say, if you're able to sort out 400 2019 and get 200 pilgrims from 2020 registration and get maybe 1,000 from 2021, all you need to do is to file your record based on first order and make an announcement and possibly put the list of those who actually make this criteria publicly, maybe possibly advertise them in the media that these are the people that make criteria, can come forward for travel documentation. Those who cannot make it also give the reason therein also. If that has been done earlier than now, agitation could have been less. And as we said in one of our press statements, up to even while I'm still in this program, my handset is beeping, people still calling, people still complaining that someone will tell you it is when they were actually getting to be evacuated that they got to know that they will not travel. It is an anomaly on the part of some, not all. There are some states that have performed creditably well. I had normally on the part of State Welfare Board not to inform the pilgrim as at when due, so that some of them can find the alternative. I can tell you some of them are even ready to go through private operators if opportunity exists to go and perform high. So that is the factor that actually give us a lot of sand, and a lot of element and education also need to be as soon as possible on the part of pilgrims that could not make it. Some are genuine and some are not actually genuine, because we have a report of raw replacement of pilgrims. And what I use by term raw replacement is to simply pick pilgrims who has met the criteria and have even maybe some of them send their document for visa and replace it with another pilgrim. Sometimes maybe I'm collecting some certain amount of money, so put it in our press statement. So these are the issues that actually give us a source of concern.
All right, so we'll now cross over to Kano, where we will speak to our correspondent, Idris Jibril, who is standing by. Idris, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
All right, so we saw your report concerning the protest that was that was held by the pilgrims that were facing some sort of challenges for the HAJJ savings scheme. And what's the situation now? Have any moves been made, or have we gotten any new information regarding that?
Well, first of all, Ibrahim, we need to understand that there is anxiety amongst people. There are about 284. And as far as development is concerned, apart from what the Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board told them, I was made to understand yesterday that two of them have traveled there in Abuja on the invitation of NACON, that they are going to collect about around 180 allocation seats for some of the intending pilgrims that were not part of this process. But up till this moment, we are yet to hear any positive result from the people who traveled to Abuja. By now, it is safer to assume that these people have not got it, they have gone to get. But generally, when I interacted with these people, they told me that their concern is that this information should have been made earlier to them, not when it's too late that authorities will start telling that the National HAJJ has not given them any allocation relating to the people who paid their money, the HAJJ savings scheme in HAJJ. So generally, for now, I can tell you that there is no development. I haven't had any demand as far as this thing is concerned, and we are here from the people or from the Pilgrims Welfare Board, even though the Welfare Board has already told them to, because even the Pilgrims Board is actually expecting actions from the National HAJJ Commission. So there is nothing the State Pilgrim Fair Board could do apart from what National HAJJ Commission is to them. So as of now, I tell you that there is no any development so far.
Okay, Ibrahim, one more explanation. We also understand that with the case of some people, in fact, air tickets have actually been bought ahead of the allocation, and they have already missed their flight as we speak, and so that is complicating what is already a difficult situation on the ground. Do you have such cases in Kano where some are holding air tickets to a flight that has already taken off whilst they are still waiting for allocation? And if there are, what kind of explanations have been offered to those kind of persons? Because we also hear that to get some of those tickets revalidated for a travel, each of them will have to cough out another 200,000 or more. Do we have these cases in Kano?
That could be true, and actually I can tell you he may likely have such kind of cases here, even though it's complicated and it's difficult to understand unless the authority does something about it or the affected persons. But apart from the 284 people I told you, those ones that paid their money as HAJJ savings scheme, I met some women here just 3 days ago who were also complaining on the issue related to what you are saying. Because this woman told me that they have paid their money, have given them all the necessary training, they have given them all the necessary logistics, including uniforms and bags. But later, 2 days for them to leave the country, the State Pilgrims Welfare Board called them and asked them to return all the equipment that they gave them, that their flight is not scheduled for that next day. But after they returned all those equipment, they told them that, okay, tomorrow, that's as of 3 days ago, tomorrow your flight will take off. So after that day, the flight didn't, and they didn't call them back. So these people came, Pilgrims Welfare Board here behind me, hoping that they are expecting that their colleagues must have gone without them, because they were told that they are supposed to leave yesterday. That's as of day before yesterday. They were supposed to leave day before yesterday. Instead, the Pilgrims Welfare Board did not call them. No one is telling them anything. So I think even here in Kano, it's not only those ones on saving schemes that are facing problems. Definitely other people who are facing related problem like the one you just mentioned.
All right, so let's go back to Ibrahim Muhammad, the guest. I want to throw this question to you now. Who is actually going to be held responsible? Because somebody has to be held responsible. Who is actually claiming responsibility for this debacle? Because I call it a debacle because it doesn't seem like anything was planned according to the way it's supposed to be. Who's actually going to be held responsible for this?
Well, I can say when you talk of have someone held responsible, well, you have to understand the nature of HAJJ operation. HAJJ operation is performed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is not performed in Nigeria, number one. The policies to be followed in this HAJJ emanated from the HAJJ regulatory body in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, known as Saudi Ministry of HAJJ and Umrah. Whatever policy they have said, then all the 165 HAJJ participating countries has to follow. In that particular end, The Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah also have a little challenges as far as here is concerned. For example, they recently launched what we call Mutawif application, pilgrims from UK, America, Australia. What happens? Some of those pilgrims have already registered through their private operators. The new system is now giving them difficulty able to register online to come Hajj. I just saw a statement from Saudi Ministry of Hajj today that they are going to grant waiver to those pilgrims from that area so that they can come and perform Hajj. So you can now to be actually tie the blame to a particular institution or particular organ. It will be relatively fair, but be it may, in Nigeria, we know the Hajj regulatory body in Nigeria is the National Hajj of Nigeria. It is their responsibility to regulate and supervise and bring out policies towards Hajj addiction. And we actually think that before some of these problems arise, they might have some sorts of mock activities to foresee the likely challenges and actually have a plan B to solve some of the problem. But they are actually trying. I am in the system. I know what is being done daily. It's a complex challenge that cannot tie to a particular organization. Even Saudi actually admitted yesterday that the portal they launched is a problem. So they are going to see how they are going to grant waiver for those countries that cannot register through the new portal. But down here we have a peculiarity, and that peculiarity emanates the usual Nigerian factor where frigate approach, people doesn't plan well, this source of I know that favoritism. So this is our own peculiar challenges within India that I'm very, very worried about.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me get your take finally before we let you go, Mr. Ibrahim. What my colleague Ibrahim was also saying, incidentally, two of you with the same name, is that people clearly, by what is going on, would have lost money. And who bears the brunt for these losses? My final question is, every year we come back to this same cycle and start talking about the Nigerian factor, the Nigerian problem. Isn't there something that we can do, to make this operation seamless, so that if you can't make it, right on time that you can, and then you can go ahead with private operation? Is there nothing else we can do other than wait for this cycle to repeat itself year after year? And
your last question.
In less than 30 seconds, please.
Okay, thank you. The last question, I think we have to take a cue from other countries that have what we 5 years Hajj rolling plan. That 5 years Hajj rolling plan, it means those who want to perform Hajj in 5 years time will have to start making pay and making plan by now. You see, the 5 years emanated because every pilgrim to pay within 1 year Hajj calendar. That takes us back to the issue of Hajj savings scheme. It is well structured and well planned, well implemented, and conform with appropriate law. That particular scheme can only solve 80% to 90% of some of the challenges we are currently facing.
Thank you very much. We go over to you, Idris in Kano.
Idris, I would like to ask you finally before we let you go, is there any hope in sight? Is there any end in sight to this debacle? Is there any chance that all of these stranded pilgrims now, or maybe let's say the bulk of them, might be able to make this pilgrimage this year? Is there any hope?
Actually, Ibrahim, of now, as of a day before yesterday that we gathered here in this place, there is no any hope for these people. Everybody believes, I've spoken with some people, everybody believes that Kano government only had about 2,500 and something allocations, and all allocations have been given out, which means these 284 people have no single allocation, unless like they said, they travel to Abuja to collect about 180 allocation. If they get that 180 allocation, it means 180 of them will be going. But if they didn't get it, there is no hope for any of the people going to Hajj this year, actually.
Thank you very much, Idris. We have been joined to throw more light on this issue by the chairman, Independent Hajj Reporters, From Kaduna, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed, and our Northeast correspondent, Idris Jibril, who also joins us from Kano. Thank you, gentlemen, for providing illumination to these issues, and we wish you all the best.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. We will take a short breather at this point. When we return, Daybreak continues. Please stay with us.